thank you so much for joining us today. This is a terrific film, and congratulations on it.
Thank you.
But Vuk, let's start with you. Talk about the inspiration for this story, and how personal of a story is this for you? Take me through, how much of this is of what we see in the film is stuff that you've experienced in your own life and your own experience, and how did you come to telling this story?
Yeah, I mean, it's super personal. I'm a trans filmmaker, and I really wanted to. I was so hungry to see stories that reflect myself that I don't see often. So I wanted to create a space for me and for my, trans brothers and sisters to see ourselves reflected in. So there's a lot of inspiration from my life, a lot of, judgment, fear, pain that I put into this film. I wanted to create a movie that inspired empathy, that allowed us to see, a young trans man through 3 different relationships. What is it to be a mentor to a little sister? What is it to be a partner that can be held accountable? And what is it to be a son to a father that maybe doesn't know how to talk to you, but has the heart in the right place?
And the title Mutt really refers to not just transness, but also to culture, and you mentioned in the press notes the in-betweenness. Talk about that and why that was important to convey.
Yeah, Mutt, I mean, it's a great word. And I think it reflects a lot of Americans today, Mutt for me is all about in-betweenness, but in-betweenness that is, in sexuality, in gender, in nationality, in race, and also in between in the sense of the space that we have between people. How do we take care of each other? How do we listen? How do we love each other? Yeah, all things in between.
And Lío, this is a phenomenal performance from you, and I understand you're also a Greek and Puerto Rican. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So talk about the ways that you made this character your own and really were drawn to it. How did you relate to the character, and why did you want to play this part?
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen a character breakdown, basically the blurb about a character that you receive as an actor when you may or may not audition for something. I've never received a breakdown that was so perfectly me. I emailed Vuk, we did not know each other, and I was like, please just give me this part. You don't know me, but I am Fenya. I mean, yes, I'm Greek and Puerto Rican. The character is Serbian and Chilean, kind of similar. They must have had top surgery. I had just given myself permission to be able to do that in my transition journey. Speaking Spanish on screen, must be able to speak Spanish. That's my first language. There were so many, and even we were shooting in my neighborhood in New York. It just felt like such a cosmic coincidence to find each other. And it was really cool to be able to bring so much of myself to this character. And also the script is so nuanced and subtle and human that it also required me as an actor to figure out, how do I bring the wholeness and 3-dimensionality of myself as a person to this beyond even just my identity.
Were the two of you able to collaborate and share experiences that you've each had, and did that evolve the character or the script as you went on? Because I mean, there's so much that happens in the course of 24 hours. So whether it's big emotional moments or little microaggressions, talk about how some of those different moments, found their way into the story.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote a very specific character, but I knew that it wasn't going to come to life until it was cast, because, very specific character. So I think we really did build a new character together and found, it evolved the way you reacted to things. I think you were a lot calmer and centered than the character was originally, but I love this version, and this is the best version possible.
Yeah, it was really amazing to work with Vuk to figure out how to reconcile the fact that I am kind of inevitably perceived as soft in the world. I'm sort of just a soft, sweet energy as Lío, and Fenya is fiery and defensive and assuming that people are not on his side all the time. That is different from me. I try to move through the world and assume that people are on my side. And so working with Vuk to figure out where does that bristliness come from in his upbringing, where does that bristliness come from, or how does it manifest out in the world? Because he's such a New Yorker too, Fenya. He's he doesn't give a
he has a lot of walls up.
Keep my mouth shut.
He has a lot of walls up, and I think that was where we were trying to figure out why he's so defensive, and he's just really protecting himself.
Yeah.
I think that really manifests really near the end of the film as well, with the real big moments between your character Cole and Fenya, and I think you're not just the the ex-boyfriend, or it's a very well-drawn, nuanced character. What were some of the challenges for you in portraying that part and bringing up these bigger themes as it relates to transness and how other people are still trying to understand and grapple with being, people who don't understand and trying to learn?
Of course, yeah. It's a good question. I think approaching this role, I had to really sit down with both Lío and Vuk and be like, the version of this character is not who I am. I'm part of the LGBTQ community. I have tons of trans friends, and I'm an ally, and I needed to go and kind of take a step back from myself and not worry about hurting someone, who is in a vulnerable position. And I needed to really honor and advocate for John's point of view, because underneath what Vuk was saying, this trans story is a human story about love, and what was important to John is, and he even says it in the film, this has nothing to do with you being trans, it's the way you treated me, and I just had to honor that.
There's a great line that's like, oh, your emotions are all real now, or your feelings are all, I love that.
Right,
so.
Right.
And Mimi, this is a really mature role for you, and I think people will know you from your Broadway days as well. How did you get involved in this project, and what were some of your challenges in playing this character?
Yeah, Vuk had worked on something with a friend, and their mom was a casting director that cast me in Matilda. And so this is how I came a part of it. And I just fell in love with the script, and I met Vuk. And then we went around the city together. It was really fun.
And the two of you have a great chemistry and bond. What was that working relationship like, and how did you collaborate together?
I mean, we both have siblings and are really close to our siblings. So it was, for me, I have a little sister, and so immediately, you kind of look like her in this weird way. But we just immediately kind of dropped into big bro, little sis, and it was such a pleasure to, goof around between takes and just kind of build our chemistry, not even intentionally, just organically. And I know you're really close with your siblings too.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. And it was good because we started the first scene that we shot together was the first scene meeting, so that really helped.
Yeah, totally.
How long did you shoot this? How many days or?
All together with reshoots, I think we had 24 shooting days.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very short, and we had
37
locations.
We will say that as a group, just so everybody knows what we were doing.
Yeah.
Gorgeously shot as well. And
Running around Brooklyn.
How does it feel to be back at Sundance? I know you were with the lab as well. What does it feel to be back here with this movie?
I'm so proud. I mean, I feel welcome back and, really fostered, and it's like a safe heaven, and it doesn't go past me. I'm very excited to be back.
And what do you really hope people come away from with this story, people watching it, the message that you hope they take away from it?
Hopefully a sense of peace and an understanding that we're not very different. It is a trans story, but ultimately it's a story about change and, just a relief. Yeah.
I think too, I hope that the trans community that sees this movie sees themselves maybe for the first time, because I know for me, I had never seen myself on screen, and had I seen this movie when I was 15, 20, 2 years ago even, it would have changed my life for the better. And so I'm really excited for the queer and trans community to have this kind of representation that really just doesn't exist yet. Trans masculine protagonist, written and directed by a trans mass person,
Not to mention first generation American mix.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah.